Okay, sir. I have a couple of questions here. The first one is the declaration made by former President Obasanjo that the two credible people who can actually pilot Nigeria to the promised land, Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, and those are the people he believes will help us with leadership.
Obasanjo is one of the people who failed Nigeria incredibly well, to the point that his son once accused him of impregnating his wife. He was the person who was cited by several court jurisdictions of collecting bribes physically from oil companies. I think Siemens was one of them. Him and Atiku were accused of filtering away the PTDF funds meant for students who are supposed to study abroad. Obasanjo was the first who invested $16 million in darkness to procure darkness in this country. So if Obasanjo is asking you to that he knows two credible people, that's the reason why you should run from those two credible people. Because they must be incredibly bad people. Obasanjo has been the source, one of the biggest sources of Nigeria's support. And I'm not saying it because he recommended two people, which you said he recommended. I've not seen it anywhere, but I know that Obasanjo can be very reckless. I once said recently, and he has not challenged me, that if the devil had a deputy, it would be Obasanjo. That's the devil as described by all persons. So if you want to keep listening to failed leaders to recommend for you your own leaders, you are digging your grave. But I don't need to say anymore.
The Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, has once again intimated us without fencing Nigeria and probably the borders and all. The solution to insecurity is still not going to be in sight.
I have responded to him, and that is why I think Musa is a social media creation. As a matter of fact, somebody who was in the military uniform, who failed to curb insurgency, terrorism, and banditry, as you may call it, made a minister of finance, is likely to have this false sense of importance. To think that the reason he was given that position is because he knows what he's saying. Let me tell you, what is a fence? It's a barrier constructed around an object, a state, a house. But if you are living in 2026, a fence no longer holds any value. Considering that these physical barriers no longer constitute what you can call real barrier towards terrorism. Terrorism itself has moved beyond a fence that is 6 feet, 20 feet tall. Do you know why? Let me just give you an example. Boko Haram is now using drones to attack Nigerian forces. So how high can the offense go? Yeah? How high can the fence go to prevent drones from coming to the forces? Even in the Bible, God realized that it is foolish to construct a Tower of Babel. Is it Tower of Babel? I'm sure he was thinking about Musa there. And said, look, stop constructing the foolishness, because the reason why God must have told them at that time is because God knew that they were constructing a fence in direction of, they thought God was living in the sky, but that God doesn't live where man thought he was living. So the foolishness of the likes of Musa is the reason we are going to continue to wallow in the situation that we're in. That's the reason why I said, if I'm president of Nigeria and when I'm president, my minister of defense will be a drone. And many people said, no, why would you say that? Is a drone not better than Matawale? Who's going to marry 9 of his children in one day? At the time that people are getting killed in their sleep. Is it not better to just buy a drone of $2,000 and be flying it around and you can see all the terrorists than to make Matawale, continue to make people like Matawale a minister of defense? Or now even Musa, who continues to expose himself. Why don't we just actually in Nigeria to go and construct a wall around there? Go and fence your village and terrorism will end.
fence your community.
But go and ask, where is the Berlin Wall? Why did they take it down? Because everybody knew it was a foolish decision to keep a wall between Eastern and Western Germany. Because the wall couldn't stop it. And beyond that, people like Musa ought to study the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of persons. Part of the reason we're in ECOWAS is to ensure that there's free movement of persons within that region. And as long as we are surrounded by other poor people, there's no high defense can go. Go and ask Donald Trump why he's no longer talking about fence. And all his border guards are now in town because the fences disappointed him.
So the news that the son of the Minister of Works, former governor, running for councillorship, has obtained a 30 million naira local government chairmanship fund. How does this relate to the issues we have at hand? Considering that
honestly, I don't want to make comments about. We have to respect everybody's rights to run for office. Whether it's a foolish person or
the price of the form and what it entails running for office.
The reason why the price forms very high is to prevent people who have ideas but don't have money in participating in governance. So it's the highest bidder that can participate in all this. But if you are worried about the funds, you go find out how much you spend to quote unquote win this election or buy the elections. Then you understand that the funds are just a small fraction of it. But our goal as patriots, as activists, political movement is to put an end to an era where people who have no ideas have access to power, and to allow people who have ideas have access to real power to change the social, economic, cultural, and human conditions of Nigeria.
So I'd like your honest opinion about negotiating with terrorists.
I've never given a dishonest opinion before. So, what do you want to know?
And then the Gumi,
I think I've addressed Gumi before. See, Nigerians just don't know history. Gumi's father is well known for giving rambunctious interviews, statements. So I think it's in the DNA of the son to do the same thing. You should go and study Gumi's father. He will say things that you think Nigeria will burn the next day. He was a religious fanatic. So even this Gumi you are seeing as a refined version of his own father. And he was very popular in Nigeria at that time. But what is Gumi capitalizing upon? The failure of the government to protect. He's saying to you that if you can't defeat the terrorists, go and negotiate with them. You know, and if you want to make Gumi relevant, defeat the terrorists and the bandits. Gumi will have nothing else to do than to face his religious duty. You know, Gumi is not a foolish man. I know him very well. He's very well read and he's smart. But he can also be very cunning and he can be very mischievous because he studies society very well. But he's just capitalizing on the failure of the state to protect. If the state is doing its job, he will not be asking any question about me. You will just put him in the realm of whether comedy or freedom of expression. And Gumi is very, very savvy with social media too. I'm competing with him on Facebook for attention. So before we leave this place, Gumi can go on live like 4 times on Facebook. So he's not stupid. I don't know whether they have monetized his Facebook page. So from the beginning, I knew that this was a frivolous case. I also knew that Facebook and Twitter, and this is very important for Nigerians, they don't believe in your right to freely express it. In fact, in my view, Facebook has become more authoritarian than most governments in the world. Facebook can deactivate your account, take down your post without your knowledge. Twitter is a little bit different in the sense that when they were told to take down my account, they wrote to me and said, we have received a communication from the government to take down your post. And I said to them, don't try it. And they have not touched. If you were in court today and heard what the foolish Facebook lawyer came to say in court, you will be crying for the future of. He doesn't know that digital rights are fundamental human rights. No. He said that you don't have a right on social media. This is a social media that makes billions of dollars from Nigerians every year, saying that they can throw you under the bus. As you know. So I knew that they will negotiate with federal government to take them out of the case. What they want to achieve is what they achieved the last time, is to ensure that the federal government, in agreement with them, is able to arraign me. Because the federal government was worried that it will be impossible to arraign me, considering the kind of quality of lawyers we have been bringing to court. And they have seen us in other cases. But we decided that you arraign, but come and prosecute now. The man who is a senior advocate of Nigeria did not know that if you are going to prosecute a defendant in a criminal case, you have to provide him with copies of the witness statements. He said the witness is an intelligence officer. Who is intelligence officer? When we had resolved that as of 2019 before Justice Ojukwu here, that you must provide in advance to the defendant statements of claim of your witness, their name, and also the street where they are living. Even if they are evil spirits, tell us the shrine where we can find them. You cannot just come to court because it's not a secret trial. So is he going to bring this and you cover the face or what? So when he was caught doing that, he said we should request. It's the most ridiculous hearing that a senior advocate of Nigeria. But I'm not going to attack him personally because he has behaved himself from the last time I was not in court when he was gallivanting. So we are going to ask them to give us a statement of account. They have only one witness, the investigation officer. Where is he based? They said they cannot name the person. What did he investigate? Can't name it. Did he call the accused to come and explain? He said the only thing they admitted in court is that they wrote to me that I should take down my post and that I rejected it. Of course, it's not fundamental human right. You can't ask me to take down a post that is truthful. But what came out of this that was very exciting and interesting is this same senior advocate of Nigeria confessed in court that he was not briefed by the president to don't lie against me. I was not briefed by the president to come and represent him. He was briefed by the DSS, a busybody. So we had an interesting day in court today, and I'm sure we'll have more in the future. And he also acknowledged that he said, "My Lord, Chiwore is running for president. I have not even declared yet."
He has declared. He has declared.
That's what they call honorable mention.
Okay, so lastly, you said you were going to secure the release of Malami. Can you please lead us through?
No, I'm waiting for the bailiffs so that we can go together. If we are not releasing yet. We want to find out the circumstances behind his refusal to leave the So, and if we can help, he's entitled to, he has been granted bail. He must enjoy the liberty that comes with the completion of his paperwork. Even though he had in the past denied me the same opportunity, I was granted bail in 1 month. Malami and the DSS kept claiming that bail being granted is not automatic, and that if a law court grants bail to anybody, the DSS must vet the sureties. So we decided that we are not going to vet our sureties for 1 month. I was in detention. In fact, in the course of my refusal to vet the sureties, one of the sureties ran away. We eventually found, we came back to court to ask the judge to vary the conditions of the judge. Justice Ojukwu was saying, you mean Chiwore doesn't have 100 million naira to deposit? Because they asked me to deposit 100 million naira before I can leave. Just like they have done to what's this man? Dasuki. So we refused. And when we eventually came to court and they released me, they came back to this court, abducted me. When I was finally released, when there was so much pressure on them, Malami foolishly, stupidly, ignorantly claimed that I was released on the basis of what's that thing? Clemency, that the federal government was lenient. And they sustained that case against me, kept me in Nigeria for 5 years. That same judge granted a court order that restricted me to Abuja for 3 years, until the Court of Appeal said they've never heard this before, that your citizen is restricted to the city. And then for 2 years after that, they did not release my passport. I went to the US to visit my family in 2024, came back by December. They have taken my passport again, December 2020. No, January 2025. This is January 2026. There's a judge in that corner who said I have no right to apply for my passport. That when I applied for the passport, the ticket I presented that I want to go to the US doesn't look like the ticket he's used to when he goes to Saudi Arabia. So that's a judge.
Foolish people.
So, and I told him, and that I did not present evidence that I had children in the US. And I said, how that's not the basis for, even if I don't present a ticket, I have the right to have a passport. And if you grant me my passport and I need to travel, am I going to travel to, with a broom, in between my legs? I'm not a witch. I still have to go and buy tickets and travel to the US. And we told him, I cannot run away from this country and all these stupid cases. He said no. Also for a year now, just he said, MS Lima, that one and there, refused to grant me my passports because this illegal IGP has been working on that ground with me. But we have promised that all these people will be disgraced. It is what I said against Malami now that is playing out. This IGP is going to run to me asking for me to help him when his own time comes. Everybody that has done this evil against humanity in this country have always come back to come and ask for help. Let me reveal to you that Malami we saw his children on Friday here, they were running around trying to do bail. They couldn't even find his former colleagues with whom they were doing business to stand surety for him. I had to volunteer to stand surety until they told me that I don't have a house in Abuja. So my Peter will be, I don't have a house in Abuja, so there's no way I can stand surety for anybody. Yes. So thank you very much, everyone. Now.